When I think about how risk assessment looks at each stage of your business journey, it can take different forms. I think about our own company. When we first were operating and we had built our online audit manager, it was running on a web server and a database server with a firewall, and it was actually sitting on top of a cubicle. I was the only person in the office. I was the only person with a key to that office, and I watched it like a hawk. I was personally responsible for it, and I looked out for the different risks that could physically as well as electronically affect that application. Once we started growing and having more resources, it became more feasible to think about, well, I don't have the necessary environmental controls in this room. What if the air conditioner goes out and these servers are damaged? I started thinking about redundancy. Well, what if the power goes out in the building? We didn't have the money at that point to pay for a data center and all of the controls that are sophisticated in an environment like that. But we did start spending money on additional controls in our office to lock up the environment so that within the walls of our office, no one could get to that, and we put money into backups and batteries and things like that that protected the environment. But finally, as we grew a little bit more, we had the resources to put the application into a data center. And we did that because of the risks that we were facing. All of our eggs were in that one physical location. We didn't have generators. We didn't have 24/7 personnel, and we couldn't afford to do that. But once we moved it into a data center, we were then addressing some additional risks that we previously were willing to accept. And then finally, it was our journey to the cloud that allowed us to shift our risk once again. We addressed some of the risks that we faced by having our application hosted at a data center that was running on a dedicated server in that environment, and we moved it to the cloud. Did we eliminate risk along the way? No. With every change that we made, the risk just shifted. It changed. Now that our application is in the cloud, we've been able to access a lot of really great, sophisticated, advanced controls to minimize our risk. But we have different risk now that we're in the cloud as opposed to where we were in the early days. And so your risk assessment will look different. You will make different decisions based on the resources that you have available to you. And you will continue to mature and grow as you go through what is a great process known as risk assessment.